Yes, ma'am. Board Vice Chair Bapatal.
Here.
Board Member Quirt.
Here.
Board Member Hinsey.
Here.
Board Member McNamara.
Here.
Board Member Rodriguez.
Here.
Board Member Desmond. Board Member Jenkins. Board Chair Edson.
Here.
Board Member Contreras.
Present.
And Board Member Whitburn. That concludes the roll call, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll now hear a safety brief and evacuation procedures from you, Anthony.
Yes, ma'am. For those here in the building, in the event of an emergency, I will dial 911. In the event of an evacuation, please exit the building using the stairs. Do not use the elevators. Once clear of the building, do not re-enter unless told to do so by emergency personnel. We have fire extinguishers and fire alarms located on each floor of this building. We also have a portable defibrillator located on the first floor and staff on hand trained on CPR procedures. That concludes my safety brief, ma'am.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments today?
We do not, ma'am.
Okay. Before we get into the specific items on the agenda for this meeting, I'd like to outline the meeting protocols. We've been following them pretty religiously lately, which will make this meeting as efficient as possible. First, please hold your comments and/or questions until after the agenda item has been presented. Second, when the time comes for board member comments or questions, I'll call on board members as in order and and to see if you have anything for the specific agenda item. And third, if there are any follow-up comments or questions, please state who is making the request and I'll call upon you to make your comment or to ask your question. There is one item on the agenda. Laura Cote, Chief Administrative Officer, will review item 1.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chair and members of the board. So the special meeting being held today was requested in order to consider the option of holding virtual meetings through May 5th or to resume in-person meetings beginning tomorrow. The resolution approved by you at your last meeting in March allowed virtual meetings for an additional 30 days, which is the maximum number of days allowable under AB 361. However, the 30-day timeframe did not take us through the April board meeting. So thank you for meeting in this special meeting. Next slide, please. So as mentioned at prior board meetings, Governor Newsom signed AB 361 into law last September, and it did modify some of the provisions related to teleconference public meetings. So this bill is in effect technically until January 1st, 2024, and allows local agencies to hold meetings virtually so long as state or local officials have declared a state of emergency or those same officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. Next slide, please. So as a reminder, on February 28th, the governor issued Executive Order N-522, and this extended the state of emergency through May 5th. And at this time, we are not aware of another extension beyond the state. However, we certainly will keep the board apprised if that does change. We've also been tracking some related legislation along with this item. The latest one was AB 1933, which would mandate that an employer require each person who is an employee or independent contractor and who's eligible to receive the vaccine to do so and show proof to the employer. If it passes, it will become effective January 1st of 2023. We did hear, though, that this bill has been placed on hold until further notice. There was some union discussions that are continuing to occur at this time, so it was placed on hold for more deliberation. And then one final note that didn't make this slide because it just happened. The TSA, or Transportation Security Administration, did just extend the mask mandate through May 3rd for individuals across all transportation networks throughout the United States. And this mandate does apply to most of NCTD's locations. It's a 2-week extension. It was requested by, actually it was an order by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and their basis had to do with needing some additional time to assess the rise in cases from the Omicron subvariant BA2 since early April. And so next slide, at this point, I'd like to go to the recommendation and hear any questions. So the recommendation before you today is to consider one of the two alternatives, as we have every month. First is adopting a resolution today proclaiming a local emergency, re-ratifying the proclamation of a state of emergency, and reauthorizing remote teleconference meetings of the legislative bodies of the North County Transit District in compliance with AB 361. That would become effective tomorrow, and we just go through May 5th, which is again the governor's order expiration date at this time, or to go ahead and resume in-person meetings effective immediately starting tomorrow. So that does conclude my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Laura. Anthony, just so you know, Sharon Jenkins has joined. And do we have any public comments on this agenda item?
We do not, ma'am.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no hands raised. No discussion then in that case. I also I wanted to mention that I had read that CDC notice yesterday, and I was sort of leaning towards, gee, maybe we might come back right now. And with that notice, it sort of tipped me the other direction. So with that, may I have a motion from anyone?
I'll move to approve the recommendation number 1 to continue meetings virtually through May 5th.
Okay. Seeing no hands raised, I will go ahead and second that motion. Anthony, please call for the vote.
Yes, ma'am. On the motion of Board Member Kelly Hensey, seconded by Board Chair Joel Edson, to adopt Resolution 22-05, reauthorizing remote meetings. Board Vice Chair Bapatal, how do you vote?
Aye.
Board Member Quirk,
Yes.
Board Member Hensey,
Yes.
Board Member McNamara,
Yes.
Board Member Rodriguez,
No.
Board Member Desmond, Board Member Jenkins,
No.
Board Chair Edson,
Yes.
Board Member Contreras.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you so much, Anthony, and thank you everyone for being here today for this special meeting. The next scheduled meeting is our regular board meeting, April 21st, 2022 at 2 p.m. It will be via remote. This meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.